everyone, I'm Michelle. I'm usually the one you guys are communicating with on in the support or on the chat. So today I'm going to introduce you guys to our new feature, the terrain elevation, that was released this past Tuesday on the May 23rd. If you have any questions, you can just ask your questions in the chat box, and let's try to keep it to terrain elevation topics because I know there's there's a lot of questions that we might have about a lot of different things on the software, but right now let's try to focus on the terrain elevation. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen. Okay, when you first open up your planner, you're actually going to have a window that popped up. It's going to pop up here asking you if you want to activate the terrain elevation. That's the only way you'll have it fully installed on your planner is for you to activate it. It's a free service, so it's something that is offered already to our US users, so you don't have to worry about activating it and getting charged. It's already part of your package. All right, so you should see, especially when you first get introduced to it, you'll have a red dot over here. So under the layout step, there are a couple of new under your layout step. If you click on land, you have the option now for your elevation point. We always suggest if you have a site plan with your elevation points already on there, upload that site plan under your trace image, set your scale, and then you can use that as a template to create your elevation points on here. If you do not, it's okay. I'll show you how to work with that. If you also notice that I already have my lot drawn out, we're going to deactivate the traced image in the background. I already have a lot drawn out, and that's also very important because it allows you to see the space in which you're working on for where to place your elevation points. When you click on elevation points in the right, this is where now you can set your default elevation. And we usually suggest if you have if you don't have a site plan, if you have a part of your home or your design as a flat surface, and then it either slopes up or down from there, set your default at 0. But you want to set your default where the area where the flat surface is. So this is what we recommend. When you have your site, the lot already drawn out, you can make 4 elevations to start off with. So let's zoom in here, and you notice how now the lawn is everywhere on the background in your 3D image. That's going to be for every single project. Now that's the default of what it's going to look like. You can change it in your material step as you can change, everything else, but just letting you know, if you don't see that lawn all over your 3D image, that means you haven't activated the terrain elevation just yet. Okay, so we're going to start by setting your default elevation. So this icon right here, the repeat action, is going to be very important because if you set your elevation at 0, and I bring it down here, and I want you to notice this point under my cursor, and I'm going to set 0, let's say here, because for my, actually, no, I'm not going to do 0. I'm going to lower it. And for this, you can actually go down. The negatives will make your slope go down, and the positive will make it go up a hill or like a mountain. So just kind of keep that FYI. I'm going to give it a -5 feet value. Press enter, and I'm going to select repeat action. When I select repeat action, that means now I can set the slope in front of my house at a -5. I already have some down here. I don't know if you can see that. But then I want it to gradually kind of go up because for the kind of house that I have or the kind of house that's in the image, the front is going down and then the back kind of goes up. So keep that in mind. So for the next thing I will want to do for now is set my back elevation. Let's say I'm going to put my back elevation at positive 15 feet. I still have the repeat action on. So I'm going to click here. And I want you to notice something. You notice how now it's set at a slope, but the house is kind of going all the way in to back here, right? That's because this whole area has no elevation points. I didn't add any elevation points there. But you want to make sure you, for our example, I'm going to go back to land, select elevation points, and I'm actually going to add, so I have -5 down here. I'm going to go -2 feet further up here. I'll probably go make this one a 1 feet. I'm going to make this gradual. And then I'm going to go up from there. So maybe another 1 feet here. And then maybe 3 feet back here. And then now I see, let me click back here. Now you see that the house is still kind of wonky on the slope, but the hill up here goes further up. All right, so the next thing you want to do is click on the house itself. In the right panel, this is now you have your option. You have 2 options. You can raise your elevation of the house. I want you to watch the house elevation as it comes up. You can keep raising it. And you will know when to stop because then you'll be able to see. I'm going to keep going so you can see what I mean. Okay. So this is how you know when to stop because now you'll be able to see the bottom of the house, and that's not what we want. We want to make sure our house is on ground level. Now, you also have 1 or 2 options. If you select this icon down here that says ground, it puts the house directly back all the way down on the floor, and it meets at the level. You can do it like this. And then as you can see here, my garage, it's kind of still further up. But we're going to fix that. So we're going to fix that. Don't worry about that. We can also, over here, I'll say, okay, maybe I want to bring these points. So you can click on the points, but I want to change this elevation. And maybe I'm going to make this elevation a 0. I can click on it in the right panel. I can click on each elevation and I can reduce it down to 0. I'm going to reduce this one. And make sure you do, so depending on how your house is structured, you want to make sure if there's an elevation point on the opposite end of your site plan, that it's the same elevation or it's the same slope, make sure it's even. So if you're going to change this to 0, make sure you change the other one to 0, just to kind of, keep everything cohesive. I'm going to move these further back as well. I'm going to bring the house up just a tad. All right. Okay. Now the next item that we have added in the layout step is your building location. So with this, that's why I said we're going to change it, because with this building location option, now you can click on move house and you can click and move it anywhere on the terrain or on your site plan. So we'll move it further back. And if you notice how anytime I move it, where the house stops changes, is because it's based on the elevation of where I'm moving it. So for this, I'm actually going to move it maybe further up. And then I'm going to just put the house further down on the terrain. Okay. All right. So then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go to your exterior step. So when you go to the exterior step, this is actually where the biggest difference that we've made to the software is in the exterior step, because now instead of having to worry about what your elevation is for the driveway, and that's why I said we're going to leave the garage how it is, because in your elevations, in your exterior step, now you're able to create these sloping garage, driveways, walkways, different spaces like that directly from the elevation step without having to try to figure it out in the layout step. Okay, so let's go to your exterior step. And now you have the options of spaces, paths, embankment, retaining wall, boundaries, and your deck. And your deck is a whole other way that we create the decks now. So for this, I'm going to start with paths. And I'm actually going to create the driveway. And now the driveway in the previous planner, you drew out the driveway using just, for every click you create, it creates a point and you draw out the rectangular or the square driveway, however you want it to be. Or same thing goes for walkway. But now on your driveway option, you click on, see this green dot, will allow you to start your driveway where you want it to start. So I'm going to start it from the garage. I'm going to actually click on my driveway, and then I'm going to bring it down. And you see, it just creates this one rectangular shape coming down. So I'm going to click here, and you can actually keep going. You can create a turn, and you can keep curving if you like. So this is just for an example. This is what we're going to do. Let me click on here. So this would be what the driveway looks like, right? So remember now we have a slight slope coming down. So the slope is automatic now with the driveway. But it gets even better. If you click on the driveway, now you have your options in the right panel. Under perimeters, you can select per point. So when you select per point, it allows you now to click on the point of the driveway, click on any of the points that you've created. Remember, for every click on your driveway, and the same thing applies to your walkway, it creates a point. You click on the point, and sometimes you'll have an automatic elevation. If you have an automatic elevation, just uncheck that box and it'll give you the options to edit your points. So for this, I want to click on first floor. It brings it up. It's going to bring it up as if the garage was starting on the first floor. Remember, now we're on the terrain level. I wanted to show you this for those that are creating higher driveways, kind of sloping down. And you can see that it slopes down automatically. And for this example, I'm actually going to curve the driveway. And there's a curved edge option right here. And you see now the driveway kind of curves back onto the street. I don't need it to be that tall. So I'm going to click on the point once again. I'm going to go mountain level. If I do mountain level, now the driveway goes from the bottom floor all the way out. And as you can see, I have a little bit of green, a little bit of grass still in front of the driveway. And that's because when you zoom in where the driveway meets the garage, there is some space right here. So you might think that you drew it very close and you're wondering why is it showing green? It's because you drew it close, but you still left space between the driveway and the garage. So you just want to click on the point and extend it. And once you do that, you notice how it closes out. There's no more green showing right here. Let me go back to your exterior step. We're going to click on this driveway once again, and we're going to click on one of the points. And I'm going to click on this point. And you remember when I told you how it's an automatic elevation? We're going to uncheck that. And now you can either select to go down to yard, And what's happening now, it's following the terrain kind of going down when you select down to yard for this point. And you can do the same thing. I don't want to do it for all because I don't want to do it for the front. All right, so then I have this sloping driveway coming down from the garage. You can also, the same rules apply for the walkway. So if you go to paths, we're going to select walkway, and we're going to just start our walkway from the front door. And bring it out to the driveway. And this is what it's going to look like. And the same thing applies. You can see that there's a green grass by the front door. That just means I didn't pull the walkway out far enough. And then if you select per point right here, you can modify. I can make my walkway curvy, or I can keep the straight edge. Or if I wanted this part of my walkway to be curvy or straight, but this part of the walkway, let me add one more point. To be curvy. So you see here, this part is still straight and these parts are curvy. You can do that as well. And there's a little bit of grass, so that means I need to extend, go click on the point, extend it out. And you can deactivate the magnetism if it keeps snapping into place. So just kind of deactivate it and bring it here to get rid of that grass area. All right, and then next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to extend the width of my walkway. And you can do the same thing for your driveway, extend the width for your driveway. And to move the driveway and the walkway, you're going to follow the points. Click on your points to move it. So just remember that if you're trying to move it and you're wondering why you can't just click on the sides to move it, is because you have to click on the points. Let's see, anybody have any questions? All right, no questions so far. Good. All right, next thing you're going to do when you click on your the driveway or walkway, in the right panel, you have the options for borders. Now you can add borders all over, and it creates these paths for you. And the same thing applies to the walkway. You can adjust the height and the thickness of the border as well. And in the exterior step, which is a little bit different from before, you can edit the colors in the right panel. So you select these colors icon, and now you choose which option are you trying to change, customize the ground or the borders, and you can change the material in the right panel as well. So for the walkway, I changed the material to this red brick. And the same thing applies in the material step. So even though we have the option now to customize the exterior options in the exterior step, you can also customize it in the material step so that it doesn't isolate each other. And same thing goes for grass. So now you can edit the ground from the terrain in the exterior step or in the material step. All right. Next thing I'm going to show you now, if we're going to create our embankment, you can select embankment, and now it's going to add an embankment to every, like, automatically attached to where there can be an embankment. So I'm going to click here, and now it added it to all the areas that has the potential to have an embankment. So if you notice right here, this embankment just allows for like a smooth transition coming down. And we also can add a retaining wall. And the retaining walls, well, I already have a embankment in this area, so it's not going to add it. But the retaining walls they attach automatically to where it can have a retaining wall. See right here? So now you have this sloping driveway coming down with a walkway. And now what we're also going to do is in the back of the house, remember our terrain in the back goes up. So we're going to select pavement, and we're going to give the back of the house this big paved area. And now with this, it's the same way that you drew driveways before, where now you just, for every click, creates a turn, and the last click, close it out. So just double click for that last click to close it out. And for this, you can actually click on the edge to expand it or to reduce it, or you can click on the corner. And this is what it will look like. Oh, let me remove this. I forgot I had these here. So remember, now you have the grass here only because when you look close to the house, it's not closed out. So we're going to close that out in all areas. And this is what it will look like. Now you can lower the elevation. I'm going to lower this. Let me see if I can bring it down to the ground. Because our backyard has this mountain slope kind of going up. It's hilly slope, not mountain, hilly slope going up. I'm going to actually add a retaining wall. And I'm going to increase the height of our retaining wall. Wait, hold on. Elevation, I'm sorry. Oh, no. There we go. So now you have this backdoor patio area, and you have a hill going up here. And when you add furnishings, so for example, we're going to add some trees to this. And when you add trees, it automatically gets leveled to where the slope is. So let's switch to the top view. I'm just going to add a couple of trees here. I'm going to switch this. So you look further back, this is, do you see how going up, the trees are following the line of the elevation? All right, what else? Sorry, in the exterior step, we also have the option now. You can, it's similar to how you added the pavement. It's the same option for the patio. But let's say we wanted to add like a curved flower bed. Now you have the option for your soft scape. So I'm going to add this curved flower bed on the terrain, and I'm just gonna keep kind of going around and just creating all these points. Double click on the last one. And when you click in that softscape area that we just created, you have the option now for curved edges. So now it turns into this like circular space. You can add more points if you would like in the right panel. Just click on it and then add more points. And I can edit each point if I like. But for this, we want it to be a little bit more curvy. And now you can add, let's see, if I wanted to add a some plants, you can do that as well in this flower bed area situation. Let's see, what else? Go back to your exterior step. All right, we're gonna actually create a deck. So with the deck option now, select deck. You're able to create a deck and increase the elevation, but also add a deck skirt. That was something that you could not do before. So as you can see here, I've added this, flat deck in the back. So when you click on it in the right panel, I'm going to increase the elevation. I'm going to raise the deck up, but I'm also going to add a deck skirt. And as I raise the elevation of the deck, the skirt also is going to be raised. You can edit the deck skirt and the materials of the deck as well in the this color icon on the right in the right panel. You can do the same thing in your material step. So let's change the color of the deck, and then we're going to change the deck skirt to maybe this white mesh. If your deck had several different sections, don't be afraid to just draw it out using the deck option. So just once you click on the deck, your points show up, and then you can add more sections to your deck if you like. So for this, I might just add this. All right, I'm gonna use this as maybe like a stepping area. So I'm gonna increase the elevation just a little. I'm gonna add a deck skirt and attach it to change the color of the deck skirt so it matches. Wait, hold on. And you can do the same thing over here. So if this is a smaller section of the deck, add a deck skirt. Now you have this 3-layer deck. And in the furnishing step, you can go in and add stairs if you needed to. Remember, I still have the repeat action on. That's why it keeps giving me more options once I click on one. And you can just adjust it accordingly. Bring it down just a slight bit. And you can change the material. Gonna give it more of a grayish look. And you can do the same thing here. And another thing that it's in the it was changed that was not here before. When you go to your plan step, everything that's created in your exterior step is now present in your plan step. So you see your retaining wall is currently present. You have your deck options. Underneath the deck, you also have the pavement. I don't know if you guys can see that. It's kind of grayed out. You can edit it in the right panel to either show it on the plan. You can change the name of it, or you can just delete it altogether, delete the name. If you would like to add it in the land not built to show up on your surface area, you can by selecting it right here. You can select to display the square footage, or you can uncheck it and the square footage goes away. For now, we're going to leave that. Same thing goes for the walkway and the driveway. They have their square footage now. They have a name. And then you can select whether or not you want to change the name in the right panel. You want to show it on the plan. If you say show it on the plan, it will show up exactly like this. If you select to uncheck that, it will still show vaguely in the background, but once you download your plan, it will not be present on the plan. Okay. See if anybody has any questions. Can you add these steering options if you already started to draw a house first? Yes. So when you log into your planner, you're going to have an option to activate your terrain elevation. And once you select to activate the terrain elevation, your current plan will stay the same, but you will now have the terrain elevation options to change your current plan. So for example, if you've created slopes using shapes, the current plan will activate, but you will have to go back and delete all the shapes that you use to create the slope and to create these different things. And yes, you can add the stairs to the deck. I'm not sure if you saw how I did that, but I added the stairs in the furnishing step. Let me see if it will show up. If I open the old project, so you can see the option that is going to give me for the terrain elevation, to activate the terrain elevation. And does anybody have any more questions before we log off for the day? All right, so I'm opening up, let's say, I think this is something I've already created using some sloping techniques, but all right, so here it is. So you're going to have this question asked, do you want to activate the new terrain elevation features for your project? I'm going to say yes. I'm going to say activate. Once it comes up, it automatically changed and you'll be able to see this in the background. But you notice that I still have shapes present from when I originally created the slope. So you have to just go back to your material step, click on the shape that you added, and then just delete them. Because the software is not going to delete it for you because we don't know what you want to keep and what you don't want to keep. And the same thing goes for items that were created in your exterior step, like this. Like this driveway and walkway. You can just simply delete all of that because now you don't need it. And even the lawn, because the lawn automatically is underneath your project already. You can just click to delete that. And when you delete it, as you can see, you still have a lawn. So I'm just gonna show you. Yeah. Let's see. How about using an embankment? Okay, let's go back to, I don't know if you saw when I used the embankment. So once you set your terrain and the slopes for your terrain, the embarkment becomes automatic. So once you click on it, wherever there is a place that needs to have an embankment, and I'm going to show you that in the last project I just did. Where is it? Wherever there can be an embankment, you'll have the tool automatically recognizes that area and creates the embankment for you. So here, you notice right here, this area is an embankment. See in the right panel? It slightly goes up. It doesn't go up as much. I wonder if I can add, I don't think the back, no, I don't have any in the back. Okay, so I have, this is in, I'm gonna add one here. All right. So you see how these edges are not that deep, so it doesn't create a huge embankment, but you see how it kind of slides up over here. And then right here's a better example. So it automatically recognizes where there can be an embankment. And on the side of the house, I already had, on this driveway, I already had added some right here. Okay, so if you guys have any other questions, you can also send us an email at support@cedreo.com. And if you, as you work on it, if you have any feedback, if you have any suggestions, do not hesitate to send us an email. All right, thank you guys. You have a good day.